Let me address the two questions that always get asked and almost never get answered. And that is, how much is it going to cost and how long will it take? And they're legitimate questions, and I feel the frustration of a client when they can't get an answer. So I try very hard to be upfront about fees. I try very hard, as soon as I can, give an effective estimate, to be able to give them that estimate and to keep them apprised as we move through the case. Not only will I say, for instance, send an invoice and say, all right, here's what we've done over the last month, but then I'll try to project at least what's going to happen, what I project over the next month or two or three, and what kind of anticipated costs they can see over that 2 or 3 month period. Because I certainly would not want to have, you know, a plumber or a carpenter come to my house and they say, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. I don't know what's involved. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I do know one thing. I don't want to open up an envelope in 30 days and think that I had a $500 carpentry job and I get a bill for $5,000. I know how I would react to that, and I should expect clients to react the same way if I do it to them. So I try to keep people abreast of, all right, in the next month or 2 or 3, this is the activity that we're going to have going on for sure. And, you know, if you take our hourly rate and you multiply it by, you know, my estimate of this amount of time it's going to take to do this, you kind of got a good idea of what you can be expecting to spend over the next couple of months. I think that's what I would want, and there's no reason why I shouldn't give to my client the same thing I would expect my carpenter or plumber to give to me if the tables were reversed.
Sometimes I have to look across the table at somebody when they ask me, how much is this going to cost? And I said, I don't know. You tell me. You got a big giant pile of string put in a big giant knot, and now you're asking me to undo it. And you think that's going to be cheap? It's going to take some time, and it's going to cost a little bit of money. Oftentimes clients come to me with a case, which I immediately look at and understand that there's no possible way I can take this to trial. Defeat at trial is effectively 100% certain. Therefore, our only goal is loss mitigation and trying to position the parties in the right way that we can maximize an efficient outcome for our client.
And many times I'll ask the client, when we get into about what the case is all about, and I'll ask the client, what is your expectation of what this is going to cost? Because I want to know whether or not the client has any realistic understanding of what they're dealing with. So if you get somebody in your office and they've brought in, you know, file boxes of papers, and it's a history that goes back, you know, a couple of years, and it's all this complicated back and forth to create a very complicated case, and you say, well, what's your expectation of what this is going to cost? And they say, well, I figure we got to be able to get in and out of this for, like, you know, a couple $1,000s. Well, I know right then it's time to stop, and we're either going to come to reality or they're going to have to look elsewhere. And what I try to tell clients is, I don't know the answer to that question right now. I think in fairly short order, I'm going to be able to give you a pretty good estimate of an answer to both of those questions, but I can't do it now. So we fall back into the fee structure, which I have never liked, but it seems to be the only one that effectively works, and that is between now and that point in time when I can give you an effective answer, I'm going to charge you X dollars per hour. And that can vary from the type of case, and frankly, it can vary from the client. And I'm going to be honest about those numbers and how I derived them and how many hours I think at a minimum. Then that is the question that every lawyer should be able to answer. And that is that I guarantee you it's not going to be less than so many hours, so that the client knows that to even get started, this is the financial commitment that they have to make, whether it's, $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000. This is what I can assure you, you will not spend less unless that boxer does drop his hands and just stick his chin out, which is probably not going to happen.